And hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode here at the Kickpod podcast, the podcast dojo for inspirational martial arts talk. I am your host, TJ Williams, fourth degree black belt of the Chuck Norris system, here to give you the insider of my martial arts journey, discussing and analyzing martial arts based subjects, and highlight individuals that involved in martial arts of all styles, past, present, and future. All right. So, for those who are just joining me for the first time, this is a pre recorded episode. So, whatever I talk about in this episode is either coming up soon or as it's already passed. And just to give everybody update of my condition, as I've been doing for the past couple episodes, I had knee surgery about 2 months ago. So, I'm currently recovering from that, which looks pretty good because I got my knee to bend 90 degrees and I took in a couple sessions of physical therapy. And so right now the goal is to get strength back into my right leg. And it looks pretty good right now. So sooner, well, it's going to be a long process. So I'm looking at 4 to 6 months to get back to everything. So hopefully by July, I'll be able to get my 5th degree in Las Vegas. So it's only a 2-minute performance. All right, so I'm really looking forward to that. So I should be ready by then. All right. Just a little heads up. Coming close is also Halloween. I go so everybody has their Halloween candy ready for the little children come down the street, and of course, a little advice to the children: make sure the street things you have in mind. Make sure you dress light so people can see you as you're walking on the street because you know it's dark. You know you got those people that don't watch out for people when they're driving or they don't pay attention. And of course, don't go in people's houses that don't have lights on. And lastly, this is the most important one. Always check your candy before you get home or when you get home so you don't know what's in that candy because, you know, there's a lot of crazy people out there that definitely would substitute candy with certain substance so that can kill you. All right. So that's just a little heads up for you children out there. All right, let's get on to this episode. I got a guest with me that's from Maryville, Tennessee. That's in the Smoky Mountains area. All right, this person's been studying Krav Maga since 2019, or should I say, oh, definitely that's a signal. All right, and of course she's also studied Tai Chi. And it as since 2020, she's been teaching classes, workshops, empowering women and children with the fundamentals of self-defense. So this is going to be an interesting interview. So may I introduce everybody to Arley Farley. All right. So how we doing there?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I know that was a long introduction. You know, I always got to get that out there.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. So how's everything doing with you right now?
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm just hanging out, working, doing my Tai Chi, doing Krav. I mean, it's all good here in Maryville, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, of course, I'm familiar with Krav Maga because the style that I study, we are kind of incorporating that martial arts style and in our curriculum. So yeah, you know, things are evolving in self-defense. So you, of course, you're familiar with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love how it can be kind of a personal thing, it's not a strict I'm looking for the words here. It's not a strict thing. You can make Krav and any kind of system your own for the most part.
Yeah, so basically, well, from what I heard, like, of course, it's expensive curriculum, of course, yeah, and it's real intensive. I mean, I had a little
Mhm.
bit of experience with Krav Maga. I mean, took a couple seminars. I mean, it's like really, it's like you have to be well conditioned to be able to do that martial arts style.
Right. It's a lot of endurance and the testing is definitely intense. I'll say that.
Definitely. All right. So before we kind of get to like to your current status, can you take us back in time to like before martial arts happened to you? Can you describe who was Arley Farley before martial arts?
Ooh, definitely anxious all the time, anxious, bored, honestly, before um I was still in college trying to get through that. I was working, really just trying to figure out who I was as a person, which, that's always an ongoing thing. So that, finding out who you are never stops. But definitely while in college was, I was just always very anxious for what was to come. And I was bored with life, especially when all you have to do is schoolwork. There was a point where it got so bad for me that I was diagnosed with panic disorder in the summer before my senior year of college. I could not leave the house because I was always just so convinced that something bad was going to happen. It got to the point where it was more than mental, it was physical, where I just had this impending sense of doom. I couldn't stand. I was dizzy. I could hardly eat. Like I said, I couldn't leave the house. That it got that bad. That's who I was before martial arts. Now I still struggle with that some, but definitely it's gotten a lot better as I've gotten older and I've explored things and, you know, come into my own person.
Oh, I can pretty much relate to that. You know, I was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. You know, I did have that energy as a kid, but the thing is, I didn't have that control that I have now. But I can see why how it's tough to have when you have a kind of a mental condition, and it's like hard for me, it's like hard for me to pay attention in class or even be academically achieving. But it's like nowadays it's like I want to learn, like I'm pretty much not into learning anything that sounds interesting. Like for me, not only that I'm interested in learning martial arts, for me being close to fifth degree, I'm also going outside of martial arts and kind of learning anatomy. Of course,
Hmm.
since I'm talking about my knee injury, I found out that I tore my patella tendon. So, I mean, I'm trying to do research on like certain tendons and as well as bone structures as muscle. So I can at least teach my students, like, always take care of your muscles as well as your tendons. So you don't end up in the injury like I am. So that's pretty much what I'm doing with my martial arts.
Right. That's good. Yeah.
Uh, all right. So let's kind of get to like going into martial arts. What was like your push or your envy, or what's the event that kind of got you into martial arts?
Honestly, it was one of those things that I felt like I just kind of had to do and get done. Especially being on a college campus, you hear all these horror stories about, assaults and whatnot. So it hadn't happened to me, but I thought, well, I don't want to get into that situation. So, funny enough, though, I actually started after college when I was working full time. So it took me a minute to get there, but it was honestly just one of those things I thought, well, I need to get this done. And maybe I'll take a 1 day workshop or, a couple weeks of class and call it a day. That's obviously not the case anymore. But that was it. It was just something to get done. It was a chore almost. And now it's become something I want to make into a full-time thing. And if I could do it every day, train with people every day, I for sure would. But that's what it was for me. It wasn't anything exciting other than now, well, I should probably do this and, check it off of some kind of to-do list as make sure I can know how to protect myself somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably like the push or the like to get you started. Because no, yeah, it's also trouble in college campuses. I have to worry about myself when I was in college. And you never know what's going to happen. And to come to think of it, and like mostly my push was, I got bullied a lot, and that's the reason why people get into martial arts, because you got that one kid or maybe one adult that really pushes you past over the edge, and you just want to prove them wrong, and yet you don't want them to mess with you no more. So I'm going, of course, if I had the opportunity to approach my former bullies, tell them how terrible they were, in my mind I would like to knock them out, but you know
Yeah.
it wouldn't solve anything. I'm just here to tell them that their behavior or their how they bullied me wasn't okay. So I mean, this is how I am now, so I'm not gonna hold a grudge on you. I'm just gonna tell you that it wasn't okay what you did. So I mean, if they at least take that in consideration, I mean, that's fine. But if they're just still the same person, I hope they don't get to anything worse, or like they end up getting killed out in the street or in the jail, incarcerated for the rest of their life. So, I mean, hopefully things have changed for most of the people that bullied me.
Yeah, that's the same boat for me. I did get bullied pretty intensely throughout my middle school and part of high school years. So that's probably somewhere in the back of my mind, some of the reasoning for wanting to get into this. It's so far back that it's a repressed memory, but I definitely feel you on that.
All right. Yeah. So can you like remember your first lesson when you started in Krav Maga? So can you remember your first lesson when you started?
Oh yeah, that was very interesting actually. So the way that we did it back then, I they're currently going through some changes. The school is that I'm at right now, but back then it was Smoky Mountain Self Defense, and I had just reached out to the Facebook page for the school, and the instructor responded and said, "Yeah, if you could come in for a one-on-one on this day, and we'll go over some of the basic concepts and see if you like it." So it was really interesting because I really appreciate it. His name is Roy Shields. That's my first instructor. He also goes by Hoot. Um, he he took the time to it was like an hour and a half or so that he sat with me, and it was just us. And he made sure I was comfortable with it being a one-on-one, that I was comfortable. And he went over the basics of it, of Krav, and said, "This is what you're going to be learning. This is how you would do it with a partner. This is, what the various levels of our curriculum look like." He really just, I'm always grateful that he took that time, because I think if I'd been thrown into a class and just expected to kind of like know it all, that I probably would have been a little frightened at first. But that was the first lesson, was just a one-on-one. And I will say it was kind of funny because if anyone knows Roy, he's a big burly man. He's kind of scary looking, but you get to know him, and he's like the kindest person I know, and he's a big old teddy bear. So it was a really good first lesson. I'm very grateful for that, because that is what kept me going, is that attention and that one-on-one time, and making sure I was comfortable and that this is something I wanted to do and pursue.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like a good idea. Like really, you usually have those new people that come in and just like they don't know, have no idea what martial arts is. They kind of go by the interpretation what they see in movies or even TV shows. And yeah, that's really nice that you get that one-on-one to like see, kind of get, that's like a prerequisite of if you actually go to a class. So that kind of reminds me, we had like a student that came from another karate school. Of course, she wasn't satisfied with the results. Of course, we have those schools that are referred to as McDojos.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, they just worry about the money that rolls in. They just don't care about like how to fix students' techniques. So of course, she came in with her mother. Her mother was pretty much outrageous of the other school, and we kind of see like where she stands, and like most of the techniques that we familiar with, but it's like we can get you fixed up, and if you take our classes. So hopefully she'll get started soon, and well, at least I can get her started soon, so we get her on the track that she needs to be. Because really, with martial arts, I mean, I'd rather be teaching kids like how to be ready for self-defense techniques than worry about how much money they can put into martial arts. Money is not always let's just say there's no price in self-defense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's one thing I really appreciate, is at our school, it's not about the money. They do scholarships for those who can't afford it. I've actually got to see a few students go through that program and not have to worry about the money. So that's really cool, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you should start doing that more. We shouldn't have to worry about making money. I mean, we do have to get by with like making sure that the facility is paid for it, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, we can't just deceive people by saying that we're going to give you a black belt within a year, and then next if you're in a situation you panic, then next it's like I mean, I went to this karate school for nothing, or I went to this karate school just not to be prepared for self-defense, and then next something happens to me. So it's always best to really know what you're doing in self-defense and really try to get the fundamentals like you normally would do with as you're teaching, right?
Right. Yep.
All right. So after your first class with Krav Maga, what was your mindset after that? What was you thinking you were going to come back, or this is just like say, it's like a trial, a first day trial?
Yeah, no, I actually I wanted to come back and I stuck with it. I mean, I can say I really haven't missed a class, maybe 4 over the past few years that I've missed, that I love it so much that I wanted to keep coming back so much. And those 4 classes had legit reasons, like, there was COVID, I had my honeymoon, legit reasons. So I'm not, missing for no reason. But I mean, I was hooked from the beginning. Not to say that some of the classes got a little repetitive because you are trying to drill down that technique. But I mean, once you can get past those classes, I mean, you're good to go. You get into the fun stuff. You get into like multiple attacker drills. You get into weapons work. It's all really, it's cool. So if you stick with it, and that was my mindset. And I'm kind of one of those people that once I start something, if I drop it, I feel bad about it. So it's probably my own anxieties coming through too. Then I was like, no, you've got to keep going with this. And I'm so glad I did, because I love it. This is like a lifelong thing that I want to be doing. So that's where I'm at. The first class, I was hooked after that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like usually you have that instructor that makes it so fun for you, and then it's like, I want more of this. I want this to be challenging. What would you say like your favorite moment would be, like training in Krav Maga?
Training, that's difficult because there's a lot of moments that just get me so pumped up. Honestly, my favorite moments, like I can think back to the first time that I got to test out the level below me. I think that's what it was. And I got to sit in on that testing and kind of evaluate and judge and ask questions and make sure the students were ready for the next level. And just towards the end, this is one of the moments that sticks out to me, is that these tests are like 4 to 5 hours, sometimes more. They're pretty intense because you're trying to stress yourself out and make sure you can still perform. So by the end of this class, or the end of this test, the students, you could tell they were just like, they were done, but they were still going and they were so tired. But the way that they cheered each other on, specifically, there's this one test that we do where you have the dummies, we call them bobs, that you practice on.
Bobs.
Yeah, they're bobs. The plastic torsos that you could,
Mm-hmm.
you're not beating up on a real person. But you have an exercise where you do a full minute. You do not stop. You just keep going, and you use every technique that and you go. You don't slow down. You don't stop and evaluate. You just keep going until the whistle tells you that you're done. And so by the end of 5 to 6 hours, that's a pretty intense last test to do. But the way that these students cheered each other on during those final moments of the testing, just gets me pumped every time. And then when you test out kids, that's even better, because now you got little kids doing it, and it's just, their tests are a little different. Of course, you can't really do 5 to 6 hours with kids with the attention span, but the way that everyone encourages each other just gets to me every time. That's a favorite moment every time, but that one specifically is one that stands out.
It kind of sounds like my fourth degree black belt test. So you started like in April of 2019. Like, would you say like what day that you started your Krav Maga?
A Monday.
Monday. I know, like I said, the time you started training, that was like around the time I did my fourth degree black belt test. So yeah, so it's like almost 4 years for you. And like getting the martial arts, it's like 4 years for me that I just last tested. And just like
Yeah.
when you talking about the Krav Maga classes or the testing, that sounds like my test. It's like I didn't had to do like hitting on a dummy for a minute. I had to spar. It was like either 1-on-1, 2 rounds, and then 2-on-1. And that
Yeah.
was, yeah. So yeah, it was like intense. So really, it's like different than like hitting on dummy. It's like people hitting on you. It's like you have to either block and counter or either just attack. So
Oh
it was,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's one of the things that we do is we do like multiple attackers. So that's always really fun. I think I love sparring. I used to be really timid about it because I thought, oh, I'm afraid to, hit someone. But now I've definitely gotten used to it. I love it. My husband used to take Krav with me, and he said it's hard to spar with me because he says, well, you're not afraid to get hit. So it's a little intimidating, which, hey, I'm gonna take that.
Yeah. All right. So of course you also study Tai Chi. So let's kind of get into that martial arts style. So it's kind of like well, it's not like a fighting style. It's more like almost, let's just say people use this to lower their blood pressure. What you say? Like,
Right. So that was kind of my impression when I first started. So just an explainer, Tai Chi is a part of our Krav Maga curriculum because a lot of our Krav style uses the concepts and principles from Tai Chi, like proper structure and breathing and movement. So level 3 of Krav is you go to Tai Chi. So I've been doing that since early this year. And I was a little hesitant to take it, honestly, because I've always pictured like people in the park doing these, like woo-woo movements and,
yeah.
just breathing, kind of like yoga, but a little different, which don't get me wrong, I love yoga. I've studied that too. But I was a little hesitant about Tai Chi, but I did not realize how martial it is. There are the health benefits, like you mentioned, blood pressure. There are definitely health benefits that I love, but our class specifically focuses on the martial side. And I didn't realize how intense it can be. It's really soft, but it's soft, but it's so effective. I didn't realize that it was more than just woo-woo movements in the park that people were doing on a Sunday morning. It's there's like a lot of joint locks and swift movements, and I don't know how to describe it exactly because I'm still so new to it. And one of the things my instructor, his name is Steve Kerr, he's been great, but he's also I said but he means like he's good at teaching, and he's good at making you feel like I'm not sure how to describe it because, like I said, Tai Chi is so new to me. I just think he's a great instructor, and he's really good about making you feel like you're not dumb. Is a simple way of putting it, because he's told us Tai Chi is one of the harder arts to learn. I mean, they're all difficult in their own way, but this one is difficult in that it's an internal style, and that's not what I was used to with Krav. Is it's external. But he's been really good about how he teaches it, and that there is a martial side to it, because I think most of us came into that class thinking like, oh, we're just going to be in here and pretty much doing yoga. Well, that's not the case. It's actually really cool and really intense if you want it to be, but it is good for your body, Whereas Krav, I think if you do it for a while, you're prone to injury, and Tai Chi is focused on the health part of it too, so you're not beating up your body while you do it.
Yeah.
I know that was a lot of talking and a lot
Yeah.
a mouthful, but it's for me just to keep in mind. It's so new that I'm still trying to put it into words sometimes, but simply put, I love it. Steve is a great instructor. I want to keep doing it. Even when I'm done with it for the Krav level, this is something I want to keep doing.
Yeah, but for put it this way, like Tai Chi is more like a sense of meditation as well as yoga compared to Krav Maga. It's aggressive, and with Krav Maga, your adrenaline is like up, and then of course your blood pressure is like you just like have to have that energy. But yet with Tai Chi, yeah, I could say that's like a sense of meditation. It's just like you're more relaxed and like you're just like thinking about like happy thoughts. So yeah, that's the way of putting it.
That's Steve actually said, he's like, I try to do this without twisting up his words too much, but so Krav, you'll definitely injure someone. You can take them out, but Tai Chi, you can do the same. You're just doing it with a smile on your face. And I thought, yeah, that's perfect. The Tai Chi is really cool because there's a lot of, especially like the joint locking and whatnot. That is something I've always been interested in, but that's really cool how you can, take someone out just by, a handshake or something simple if you get them in the right lock. But yeah, all that to say, there is a lot of health benefit, but it's definitely martial. Like, don't, for anyone out there, don't discount it.
Yeah. I mean, really, just looking at this, it's like you're more like I can pretty much compare it right now from what you were telling me. I know Krav Maga, it's like you're trying to, it's either a kill or be killed situation, but with Tai Chi, you're trying to control the situation. So that's
Yep.
pretty much, yeah, like the sound that almost like close to a keto that was mostly that's throws and locks, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and mostly judo that's like mostly holds and locks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of everything. Like like for my style, we have Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so we definitely are doing like holds and locks, and like currently we're just doing like these Zoom classes, like from a guy that's also in our organization. It's in Texas, and we kind of periodically join this class and just because a part of our curriculum we have like something called stand up and ground combative. So that's like the ground combative, some part of the our curriculum. So we want to make sure we understand that ground combative. So if we're like testing our students, they have an idea of like what to do, like how we want them to escape the ground techniques. So yeah, that's how we're doing it right now.
Yeah. Neat. Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of get you like your current situation. Of course, you started teaching workshops and classes at 2020. So, what type of workshops you teach? So, do you actually go to like a community center or schools just to do those workshops, or you do them at your dojo?
Yeah, we've done them at the school. We've also done a couple where we'll go out to a location. I know that this is actually really funny. There was one we went to. It was at a campground because we're near the Smokies, so it makes sense. It was a campground and it was a women's retreat, and they'd hired us to come do a little workshop with them, an hour or so. And then when we showed up, all these women were, they're around the campfire. It was really cozy. They were knitting blankets and they were drinking mimosas. And then we came in there and we're like, yeah, this is how you gouge people's eyes out. It was like a total 180. So we'll do things like that. We'll go somewhere, but mostly it's at the school. It's been a minute since we've got to do a workshop just because we're, like I said, they're in the middle of transitioning the school and making some changes. Uh, the workshops are usually like I want to say 3 hours. Sometimes it'll go over a little bit where we introduce everyone to the techniques. I mean, we're not getting into anything that's going to complicate it. We try to keep it simple to where anyone could use it if they needed to. That's the workshops. And then I actually had the privilege of leading my first solo workshop, which was a first for the school, was for any student instructor to lead their own workshop, but it was something I wanted to do. It started out mostly that I wanted to do it as like a friends and family workshop kind of thing, but he let me expand it out. Roy let me expand it out, and I got to advertise my own workshop, and it went really well. I felt really supported by my instructors, so that was nice, and it was cool to kind of plan the curriculum. So and I kept it similar to what we do for our normal workshops, but I did throw in a couple small changes that I thought were relevant for friends and family. But yeah, workshops 3 hours, mostly at the school, but we'll go out occasionally.
Yeah, I think I like remember like years ago, another instructor from like another style, he usually invite me and another black belt to like an after school program for like almost troubled kids. Not like they're at risk, but like they're like almost like they need to be put in the right direction. So this is like an after school program that they did. And I usually would go do my little performance of katas. And well, I like to bring my bow staff kata. So that's like interesting. So it's real good to actually do workshops or even seminars that really teach these kids about self-defense or even help build their confidence better. So at least change their demeanor of how they like make them better than before. So that's how I could put it. So I always used to like do those, and it's like it was fun. And seminars are always good. I always like taking, like when we go to our convention in Las Vegas every year, it's like we always do those fun seminars. Like this year we have like Rowan Osborne. Of course, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like with hyper karate, and he's like did a fun seminar. And of course, I don't know if you follow UFC, but we had like George St. Pierre that he was he was doing a seminar like with this like showing us like this UFC's side of things. And of course,
Yeah.
yeah, so that was fun. And of course, we did like sort of like a non-martial arts seminar where we have two ladies from like that owns a like a women's only fitness center, and they was teaching like how to properly breathe when we're doing like certain techniques. So that was pretty much helpful. So I could pretty much wonder why that people are out of breath so easily because they are not properly breathing. So that's really something vital for me and something for my students. So usually, and just thinking about one of my students, I was just testing them today, and of course I told him like you just need to breathe and calm down. And of course from there he got so intense that he passed out. And
Oh no.
yeah, it's like I was like really keeping an eye on him. I was like telling him just relax. And then of course in the middle of kata, and then next he just collapsed. And it's just like I was like, you need to have a seat. And I mean, just don't worry about the test right now. I mean, we could complete it another time. So yeah.
Oh Lordy, yeah. that's that's where I'm grateful for the Tai Chi, is that it's like, okay, yeah, you're still kicking butt, but at least you're doing it in a healthful way that you're not gonna pass out in the middle of a test. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be like calm because you want to be that person that's like a hard worker. It's nothing wrong with being a hard worker, but it's just like you got to know where to like have that relaxed moment so you're not really wasting your energy.
Yeah, for sure. Oh Lordy.
Yeah, I tell you, once of course with winter coming up, I mean my energy is going to be low because I don't like the cold. I need heat. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I'm dreading it. It's too cold for this.
Yeah, maybe I should move to Las Vegas. That's not hot. That's high enough. Yeah.
Yeah, just live out in the desert. You'll be fine.
Yeah. I've been to Vegas at least 12 times, so I'm used to the heat.
I went as a child, so I didn't get to have fun as a child though.
Yeah. All right. So what would you say you look up to during your journey? Like who would you say you see as like an inspiration, like going through your journey?
Honestly, there's not one person. I mean, of course, my instructors. I mean, who doesn't look up to their instructors? But it's mostly my peers. Seeing that other people can do it really keeps me going. Because sometimes you do get into that mindset that, well, I can't do this. But then if you've got the people alongside of you doing it with you, those are the people I look up to. Especially, I did have, there was a younger girl in class that I thought, I was like, oh, she definitely doesn't like me, that's the anxiety speaking. But one day she came up to me and she said, I just think you're like the biggest inspiration. And I really look up to you. I mean, she's a teenager too, and I'm, in my 20s. And so that was one of those, like, I know she's saying she looks up to me, but I don't know if you can say looking down to her, she's younger, but looking up to her, because it's words of encouragement that really keep me going. So just my peers, the people that have stuck with it, and I mean, even the people that have, had to move on, I just really look up to and appreciate. Of course, my instructors, but that's the cliche answer. So, but definitely my peers helping me along the way. I really appreciate all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so really, it's like a lot of people I look up to, but mostly who I look up to is my master instructor. I mean, I kind of call him my karate pops because he's always there for me when I'm like in the jam. Like if I have questions concerning like what I need to do to make my class better, or how I handle this situation, and and he's always had my back, and it's vice versa. If he's in trouble, I always have his back. Like, of course, like this weekend, he had to he had to travel to a black belt test in West Virginia, and then from there I had to cover his classes. And of course, his class is used to me because like they see me, because there was a time where another instructor was out with surgery, and me and him was going back and forth covering classes. And it's fun teaching. I know sometimes it's stressful, but it's kind of me getting away from everything else. I mean, I'm not the person that likes to stay home and just sit around, but I'm want to be out there and just at least not have fun, but just at least get myself out there. I mean, with the podcast and me teaching, I have a ton of stuff that I want to do. And it's just me just not sitting around just hiding behind the house. I can't be fearful of what's out there. I mean, I want people to realize who I am.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So what would you say what inspirational quote best describes your journey?
Oh, quotes. I'm gonna be honest, I don't have any quotes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a specific quote, but anything relating to just like being gentle with yourself, and giving yourself grace. Okay, yeah. So this is actually coming from my work. I work at a mortgage company, because I got to make money. But I remember, this is kind of weird and might seem unrelated, but we had a seminar from our HR department come in, and it was like I don't even know what it was anymore. But one of the things that has stuck out with me is one of the recruiters saying, remember to give yourself grace and give others grace. And that's something that has really stuck with me, especially throughout martial arts, is because, it's really easy to beat yourself up. And I mean, I don't think that does anyone any good. It's easy to beat yourself up or to beat others up, literally and figuratively speaking. But just giving yourself grace and realizing like, hey, it's okay, I've had a bad day, or maybe I haven't performed as well. That's really helped me in my journey, and I'm still learning to do that. There's still some days where I think, oh my gosh, this whole day has been bad, I've been awful. But then at the end of the day, or even during, just remembering, give yourself grace. Not an exact quote, but it's something that, and this is in the back of my mind, it helps a lot.
Yeah, anything can help. I mean, from either somebody saying a quote, or probably a quote that you hear like in a story, or pretty much anything can help you become a better person, or help somebody else be a better person. Give somebody grace. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, you go through a bad day, just think about like, I mean, I don't want my students to know my bad day. I mean, I want them to know I'm still positive, even if you have a bad day. So that's usually tell my students, like, if you're having a bad day, leave it outside the door. I mean, you're not worried about it in martial arts. I mean, you're worried about learning like how to protect yourself. I mean, this could be vital for you for what's bothering you. I mean, you can't physically fight a problem, but you can mentally fight a problem.
Yep. Yeah. That's one thing I will say about martial arts is before I got into it, I didn't really find any passions in anything, but once I got into it, that's one of the martial arts is where I can find a flow state where everything just leaves your mind. Everything is left outside and you can just kind of you just forget about the world outside and you get really into it. So it's meditative for me. Like, yeah, I'm beating on things and fighting, but it's in my mind, it's empty. It's martial arts and that's it. Everything is outside the door.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so before we kind of get to our hidden dojo segment, of course, I forgot to mention this. Of course, Andrea Harkins had you on her show. Of course, yeah, I had her as a guest previously, and I always like enjoy watching her show on Fridays, the Java Buzz. So that's like I try to catch the show anytime I can. It's like her and like two other ladies. We got Jane Larkin, Miser, and of course, Rosita De Jesus. I mean, I like enjoy just listening to those ladies just talk about quotes. I mean, that's really a best show to watch if you want to look for like best inspirational quotes. So yeah, I don't know if you watched the Java Buzz or not, but
I
it's
haven't yet. It's on my to watch list. I have a whole list of things. I've got like, several martial arts podcasts and everything. But I loved Andrea. She was great. It was my first podcast experience. This being my second. I'm still learning. I still get a little nervous. I still do things like goof up and forget to turn my phone on silent, which is what you all heard in the very beginning. It's early. I'm waking up. Forgive
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Um, I apologize. But yeah, she was great. This is a great experience too. I've really enjoyed talking to both of you guys. I just love making these connections. It's a thrill to me. I mean, it makes me feel good when people want to talk to me. So thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like as soon as she like made like the post, she kind of tagged me into it. And it's like I had to like listen to this podcast, and then from there, it just gave me the inspiration to actually reach out to you. That's the thing about my podcast, just not talking to people that I know already, but just to go beyond and talk to people that I don't know, but just they have an interesting story. Like just this one guy, he's from my area in New York, but he currently lives in Japan. So hopefully I get an opportunity to talk to him about his life in martial arts as well as his life in Japan. So that's a plus. So at least that be my first time reaching somebody overseas, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far with my other podcast, yeah, I have two podcasts. Of course, I got the Kickpod and the Fit Fighter, which is fitness based podcast. So
Oh,
I was able to get guests from across seas so far, and it's always a great experience to learn how to be a better fitness instructor, even do fitness better. So it's just that's the experience. Other than martial arts experience, it's fitness experience as well.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Well, keep myself busy. That's the main thing. If I'm not doing anything outside the house, I mean, I'm at least doing something like this inside the house.
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
good deal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our hidden dojo segment. So this is where we learn the fun parts of Arley Farley, and of course, I'm gonna ask her 7 questions of course, let's just say this is more like the Comic Con version of it, yeah, or should I say this is where we get to geek out. That's how I'm gonna put this. Yeah.
All right, yes, let's go.
Yeah, that's a little term that one of my other guests, Tori Eldridge, kind of said geeking out, Yeah, and I'm still trying to finish one of her one books, The Ninja Daughter. Yeah, because she has three other books of the sequel. So I got to finish that book before I go to the next ones. Yeah. All right, here's the first question. Of course, you talked about that saying everybody gives grace and you give people grace. Can you think of another best advice that somebody gave you?
Okay, so Steve and Tai Chi, this has been really great. I think for life too. Is that you've got to go slow in order to go fast. And that's something I've applied to, I mean, just like life in general. lately is that, you can't just rush through things, which I'm really bad about. Like, I'm I'm one of those people that I'm like, I got to check it off my to-do list now. Um, but if you're learning something or doing something new, you can't just rush through everything. So going slow to go fast later on, that's something that I think is applicable to not only martial arts, but to life in general.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like with our style, we have like the 8 components of proper technique. We have all these terminologies that we teach students like as they move up the ranks. So they're familiar with all these terminologies. Everything they do in martial arts close to black belt, they'll be able to do in their technique when they actually take the test. So it's almost like a struggle because I want to make sure these kids are educated of what they're doing. Like I say, I don't want to treat this like a McDojo. They're not there just to get a belt. They're there just to like attain and earn their techniques, earn their belt. So and earn their education. So it's no different when you go to school. You just don't show up in school and then the teacher just gives you 100 because you showed up. I mean, you're there just to earn your learning and just display your learning to the teacher. Don't expect to get 100% every time. Now, I say this, no one is undefeated, or should I say, I put this almost in my like gamer terminology. A game is not a game if you don't lose at all.
Right. Yeah, you gotta learn.
Yeah. I mean, you can't always beat a game every time when you face. You got to at least put like a difficulty on there, like hard difficulty. See how you do on hard other than easy. So you're going to lose one way or another.
Yeah, you got to push yourself.
Yeah. All right. Next question. The worst advice you ever gotten?
The worst advice? I'm not sure about that, honestly. Really, I don't know. I mean, I think anyone that's just like, Lord, I think I'd have to think about that one. Like any advice you get is pretty good, and then if you figure out you don't like it, then you just kind of ignore it.
Yeah. Usually I get people with this question. Usually they don't have a worse advice. It's always good advice they ever getting. But,
Yeah, I actually listened to a couple episodes of the podcast beforehand to kind of get prepared, and I heard this question. And I thought I should probably think on that, and here I am, still stumped by it because most advice is pretty good. Otherwise, you wouldn't be giving it out. Uh, Good question. Maybe I'll come back to that one.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. How do you reward yourself? I kind of call this the guilty pleasure.
Ooh, naps. I love napping. I think that's a hobby. I have a routine when I nap. It's just my favorite thing, especially you get up early like yesterday, I got up early to go to class and I thought, well, I got up early, I was active, now I'm going to take a nap. That is how I reward myself.
Yeah, I have that same thing. Well, it's pretty much good that I'm on leave of work right now because I'm waking up in the morning, I do my workout, and then from there, and like around noon, I just take a nap. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's almost like a guilty pleasure. So no,
Yeah.
that's good. Just kind of regenerate.
Yep. Yeah. A good power nap. Sometimes a good whoops, I slept for 4 hours, whatever.
Hey, all right. Next question. What famous movie would you want to be in? Like any type of movie.
Any type of movie. I really love horror movies, especially like found footage movies. I think, like Paranormal Activity. I actually watched the Blair Witch Project last night for the first time. Any kind of horror movie I would be down for. I say that even though like I spend most of the movie, with my eyes kind of covered, one eye covered. But yeah, horror movies for sure. Found footage, anything, I'll take it. As long as it's not aliens. I don't like alien horror movies. We're good. Ghosts, spirits, whatever. I'll take it. I love it.
And just thinking of Halloween coming up tomorrow. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting too.
No. Horror movies are year round for me, not just Halloween.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just think about it. With all the people I met in horror movies, I got the best insurance, so I can't get killed. Yeah, I pretty much almost got like every Halloween met actors from every Halloween movie that I've seen like as a kid. Like really,
Yeah.
well, probably the most horror one is the Child's Play movies. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah. Just think about it. It's less scary now because of they're making all these new Chucky series or something. It's like really, it's like it's this Chucky is not like the Chucky that was in 1988. So that was more scary than it is now. It's like really, it's like almost kind of refused to watch that one, but yet, I actually got to meet the person that did the voice of Chucky. So yeah,
Really?
yeah, what was his name? Yeah, Brad Dourif, and also Andy Barkley. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. And yeah, they're definitely cool dudes. I mean, but Andy Barkley, or should I say, what's his name? Man, I forgot his name. Yeah, but yeah, Andy Barkley, guy that played Andy Barkley. Yeah, I got to meet him, and of course, yeah, Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger. Yeah,
Yeah, neat.
yeah, and even the most of the cast of Stranger Things. So yeah,
Really?
yeah. Well, I wish I could have met Joseph Quinn, but when I went to actually to the a fan expo in Toronto, his photo ops was like sold out within minutes. Everybody was
Oh,
probably went to see him, but luckily I got to meet two of them. Uh, I got to meet Finn Wolfhard, yeah, and of course Grace Van Dyke. Yeah, so it got
yeah, yeah. I'm jealous. I'm jealous for sure.
yeah, I always like going to those Comic Cons. Is like really you meet the famous people, and also Harry Potter. I'm into those. Yeah,
Okay, cool, cool.
yeah, yeah. I'm still mad about Hagrid passing away. So yeah, that's really devastating.
Yeah, oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, yeah. If you watch Harry Potter, then that's like the most lovable character throughout the whole series. So yeah, you'll know who he is.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Hidden talent.
I play drums.
Ooh, percussion.
Yeah, yeah. That's it's not a super big talent because I've only been playing for about 3 years, but I like to think I'm decent at it. My instructor says I am. I've got a sense of rhythm apparently, which I didn't know. So I love playing drums. It's a good stress relief for me. Any kind of I not even I like to play different genres too. Like one week I was learning Shakira, and then this week I'm learning more of a harder rock song, and so pop, anything. I love it all.
Yeah, I mean, I was used to being the percussion when I was in band in middle school, but I didn't play the drums. I had the crash cymbals. So
Oh, cool, cool.
yeah, I thought those were like the worst instruments I ever had, but I played those like champions. I ended up getting like 2 trophies, MVP. Like we used to have like an end of the year type picnic, and like 2 years in a row, like seventh and eighth grade, I was like I got 2 MVPs, because I played the cymbals so good. And but let's just say, when it comes to martial arts and cymbals, those are your best weapons.
See, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, everybody else is playing all these notes with the clarinet, the trumpet, and the drums. I've become like the envy of the band because of the I how I with the cymbals.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Dream celebrity encounter.
Oh boy. I actually don't follow celebrities too much, honestly. Um, huh, that's a hard one.
Mm.
Like I really like I don't know if you've heard of him, Bo Burnham. He's really cool. He does like comedy kind of stuff. I like comedy movies too, not just horror.
Yeah.
Maybe Bo Burnham. I don't know. Honestly, I kind of, I guess I'm kind of boring in that respect where I don't really follow anyone, but I like the smaller time celebrities. So probably him. He does like musical kind of comedy stuff. He did a special recently that I have some of the songs on my Spotify playlist. So we'll go with that one.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Not too exciting.
Yeah. It's going back to horror movies. There was a horror con over a border this weekend. I didn't get to go. But I've been to one before. I met all these horror films other than the ones that I met before. You got Jason Voorhees,
Mhm.
and of course one other guy, Terry Kessler. Yeah, he's known as Bernie Lomax. Yeah, because I don't know
Mhm.
if you watched Weekend of Bernie. So he was the dead guy that got tossed around a lot. Yeah,
Oh, that's so neat though.
yeah. Oh, this is fun. Yeah, so
Yeah.
really, but I mean, it's actually nice to actually meet a celebrity. No, but I don't want to treat them like they're just like big people. I just want to treat them like everybody else. They're just normal people that gave up their lives just to entertain other people. But they're just normal people like me and you. So they like to be like treated like say, I don't have a lot of money, but I'm just a normal happy person. I have a life too. So
Yeah. I don't, because as far as celebrities, I feel like I don't like, like the first one that comes to mind is someone like Paul Rudd or something like
yeah.
that. For me, it's celebrities that mean something to me. So like, yeah, Bo Burnham's cool and I like his work, but a celebrity for me would be like the head instructor of Krav Maga or my
Yeah.
favorite drummer, Danny Carey from the band Tool. Like, probably not a lot of people know who that is, but that's someone that I would want to meet because it's means something a little more personal to me. But again, I'm not a big movie watcher or whatever shows. I just kind of stick to my passions and call it a day.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, as long as it keeps you busy. I mean,
Yep.
time goes by fast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Final question. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? So, what would be your future plans 10 years from now?
Honestly, I'm really hoping to break out of a normal nine, or well, for me, 8 to 5 kind of job. I want to make my passions the thing that I do. If I could have my own school, that would be cool. But I think up until now, or up until then, I'm gonna have to put in a lot more hard work, a lot of studying. Like I told Andrea, I really want to I want to make connections like these. I want to make connections and I want to study other styles of martial arts, and just really build up my knowledge, because like I was telling you before the podcast, I didn't even know the system that you did. I didn't even know about it. So for me to build that knowledge base and hopefully in 10 years, if I have a school, great. If not, I will be learning still. But definitely breaking out of the regular 8 to 5 job and, at least doing it outside of work, just something. I really want to focus on my passions. This is also, this one's kind of unrelated, but I really like collecting crystals and gemstones and stuff. I just think they're really pretty. I would love to own a rock shop. I know that sounds that is not martial at all, but that is something I've always wanted to do. It's just a little rock shop. So I don't know, maybe I could open a school slash store for that. I don't know, but that's just one of those, like childhood kind of fun dreams. Maybe playing drums. I don't know. That's more so for me though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of see myself 10 years from now actually not owning my own school, but kind of taking over like my current instructor's school because you don't know how long he's gonna last, but at least if I know like how to like go the business in general, like take payments. Well, teaching classes, that's just natural for me, but how to like take payments and do like of course you got like insurances and
Mm-hmm.
of course accountants. So all that stuff you have to learn, and it's just that's beyond martial arts. And you talk about you didn't know how my style is. At first I thought it was just basically taekwondo, but just getting into something because when I first started, there was like a ton of pictures on the wall of Chuck Norris. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that this style has to be really associated with Chuck Norris. It wouldn't be no different than if there was pictures surrounded with Bruce Lee. Of course, people know that Bruce Lee was trained in Wing Chun, but of course, he went on to create the his own style of wing or what man, I can forget. Oh yeah, Kunz. I can't even think the name.
I know what you're talking. I
Oh,
can
wait a minute.
hear it in my head. Yeah.
Jukudo, I think. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I was drawing a blank because I had in my head Jukudo. Yeah. So yeah, that was just him. And then basically the same thing with Chuck Norris. He went on to do Tank Sudo in Korea, and then of course he revolved that to American Tank Sudo, and then it went on to being the Chuck Norris system, just evolving the techniques and just taking what works and then modifying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so before we kind of get to our conclusion of the podcast, is there any last words you'd like to tell our listeners out there?
Honestly, just keep doing what you guys are doing. If follow your passions, give yourself grace. And anyone out there, like I said, I love making these connections. So add me on Facebook. We can chat. Arley Farley, Facebook. I am happy to talk about martial arts, anything really. I'm just happy to get to know people and build up a network. So let me know.
Yeah, well, definitely, I want to definitely talk to your instructor, if he's willing to talk, and then of course, well, both your instructors, yeah. So definitely, I'm out there reaching out to at least talk to certain martial artists. So yeah,
go for it for sure.
Yeah, so hopefully one day I'll see you in another podcast. There was other podcast that I forgot to mention. The Master Motivation with Jason Flame. Of course, I was on that show previously last month. So I mean, he's definitely had like a ton of celebrities that I was hoping to have on the show. But luckily, I had like one of them that was able to talk to me for 20 minutes. But that was like the best 20 minutes of my life. So at least if you have a chance, check out that show. It's like every Monday noon, like Pacific time, like 3:00 Eastern time. So it's on either on YouTube or on Facebook. So check it out, Master Motivation.
Awesome. Yeah, I got that. Thank you.
All right. So thank you very much, Arley. So I'm gonna do my little closing of the podcast. So I hope everything goes well with you. And definitely we'll have this posted like say a couple weeks. So you'll know about it. So you'll be able to share the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
All right. So hello, everybody. Well, for those who are just tuning in, make sure you tune to my previous episodes on the bicbpradio.com, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And yet I'll see you next time for another episode here at the Kickpod. This is your host, TJ Williams, bowing you out.